Ladies and gentlemen, James Hicks here from Hicks New Media and Infotainment News. Welcome to another series in our ever evolving list of content for the channel. Today we kick off with a very exciting series. I'm actually very happy about. Well, I'm happy about everything that we do, but this one is going to be focused towards a different demographic. We are launching the Technologist forum tonight. I've got a couple of pretty smart folks in the back room here, and we are just kicking this off. We're going to have an ongoing dialogue about technology, enterprise technology, some best practices that we know about, we think we know about. Engineers like to always think we know everything. But before I say anything else, let me bring on my co-host, Dave, Yvonne. Good to see you guys.
Great to see you too.
Well, Yvonne, you got your camera set up right perfectly. We were having issues in the pre-show, but now that the sun is hitting you right, it's got you on your good side too, brother. You doing all right?
I'm doing just fine.
Fantastic. There is one member who is missing. I'm going to blame it on maybe he took a nap or something, but we will rub it in next time we talk to the other gentlemen. So there will typically be four of us on the Technologist forum, and again, the idea is sitting around with engineers and technologists talking about technology, helping you to make some decisions, some informed decisions. We've got a number of years in our tool belt about working in enterprise technology, working in consumer technology and things of that nature. So, that being said, let's start and go around the horn there. Let's start with you, Yvonne. Just a little bit about you and where you physically are.
Thank you, James. I'm located in Southern California in the Los Angeles area, specifically for Hermosa Beach. So right now I'm sitting on my patio under the sun because I have some issues with the apartment. So I decided to join you guys on the fresh air.
So in the Technologist forum, a guy is having technology problems because you got kicked out of your house. That's not a good way to start, brother. But that's okay. Dave, how about you? Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well. I think I'm missing a hat though. Everybody else has got their hat on. But what are you going to do? I didn't get the wardrobe notice ahead of time. So David Lombardi, I'm out of the Phoenix, Arizona area. Actually based out of the East Valley, call it Mesa, or as James likes to say it, the Lombardi Estates. But that's okay. We'll see how this goes.
Look, when you get a last name like Lombardi, you start making assumptions that you're related to somebody who knows a little something. So,
right.
And again, it's just three bald guys here talking. Three bald guys talking. We're not showing off ours, but
right.
Let's go ahead and start. Let me ask you guys a question. Right, the world has stopped. Right, that's a given. That's evident, and we're all in high technology. We're all a part of various organizations that focus on enterprise technology, and a number of us have been prepared for this whole work from home shift. Some organizations aren't, right? They're learning it on the fly because again, no one really knew how long this was going to take into effect. Was there going to be a vaccine? Was this really going to be as widespread? But lo and behold, it's been 5-6 months now that some organizations aren't allowing you to go back to your physical office. Some organizations are telling you don't go out and visit customers or whatever the case may be. How has this shift been for you guys in particularly? And Dave, I'll start with you on this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's been interesting. I've always worked remotely in some shape, matter, or form, whether it was one day a week or multiple days a week, or if I'm not traveling, I'd be working from home. So I thought this was going to be simple and easy. But it's definitely been different, very different, as everybody in the world has seen. The biggest thing has been realizing that it is different and kind of how to roll with that and kind of realize how we're going to, motivate each other and kind of work through this new world. And we're going to go through that, through the show. But I think the biggest thing is, like you were pointing out, is every company is trying to figure out how to deal with this new world and how to be safe, how to move forward. And I think what a lot of them are finding is where they really weren't thinking they could actually do remote working, they're actually starting to see that this is something that they can do. So it is interesting to see a shift in the landscape, right, where they're doing that. But definitely interesting for sure.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's amazing what you can do if you are forced into that corner and you have to make that adjustment, right? We've all already have laptops, monitors, whatever the case. We've got the tools and the technology within our backpacks already to do our roles, a lot of folks. And now when you're forced to do that, there may be some additional components to put in that toolkit to help you as we, my hardest thing right now is I can't go to a Starbucks or a Pete's. That's the hardest thing right now. Forget everything else, but I'll digress. Ivan, what about you, man? How are you adjusting to this new norm of being a 100% remote employee?
Yeah, James, I completely agree with you about Starbucks. But I think that's the change that would lie ahead of us, anyways. I think that's the crisis, being the virus here, was just a catalyst for the long, outstanding secular change in the society. Just look at how our habits have changed in just a couple of months. I actually think that would have happened eventually, anyways, regardless of if we would have the virus or if the virus wouldn't have been here. I think that the change should have happened in the next several years, but we had a dramatic acceleration, right? And if you look at how technology is actually able to change our lives, so we continue to function almost like we did before under this new normal. And if you think how we even value technology, right? Because if you look at, let's look at Zoom. Zoom yesterday was worth more than the whole IBM.
Yes.
That tells you something, right? And today, I think it jumped another 40% in valuation. And yes, people might say that it's inflated and it will start contracting. But regardless, that's how we, as markets, collective organisms, value this specific startup, right? Larger than a huge old technology company. So I think that represents just the value and the value of digital transformation as a whole, because we're able to continue to function normally regardless of the state of the society, right? Regardless of the crisis, and we can have this webcast too.
Yeah, you bring up something interesting there. You said that, and I believe, and I agree with you that this whole shift was going to happen eventually, right? This kind of mentality of moving folks from a core office, going downtown to the skyrise, and working in cubicles and all of that. It almost makes sense, right? Especially if you look at it from a financial perspective, real estate costs. Heck, the office that I would go to down in the Bay Area, there would be tons of food and free food. I'd be jamming my pockets with all kind of peanuts and pretzels every day, and that's an expensive cost to the bottom line of any organization. When now, and let me ask you guys again about some of the components, I guess, that you're utilizing as you're working from home. Now, all I need is a webcam and some lights, and some headphones, and I can get online and talk to someone all day if need be, and we kind of do that in some of our roles as well. Ivan, I'll go around the way back again to you. So what are you using on a day-to-day basis to do your job remotely? Yeah, you got your laptop or your desktop in front of you, but what are kind of some of the tools that you take advantage of to be effective in your role?
James, I try to be a minimalist and I like standards. So for me, I standardize on whatever I have. Don't like things like additional plugins and additional tools. And that's because I like consistency. So for example, if I need to have a call and let's say I'm on a beach, I can use the same tools that I'm using at home. And that's what I value. So I value the ability to have the same experience everywhere. So personally, I know that a lot of people like additional plugins and using additional cameras, but I'm a big fan of using whatever I can use 24/7, even if I'm not at home. So that's my approach to it.
Well, you did have to rub that in, right? You're on a call and you're at the beach. Not everyone has
I just had to put it there.
this capability of walking 20 feet from their backyard and being on the beach.
Well, we are being
That's
generous.
not fair. You're there now, aren't you? You're not really out there on your back patio. You're really looking
It's a
at
green screen. He's in front right now. Yeah, yeah.
that's good. Okay, but that's a good point. From a minimalist perspective, you just take what you're given from company issue. Let's just say, right, and not adding a whole lot of extra capabilities. Look, yeah, I've gone hog wild on Amazon, and I'm glad my wife doesn't see all of the receipts for some of these things because the lighting and the microphones and the cameras. It's hard to be mobile with a lot of this stuff. So that's a good point. Dave, what about you?
So I think the biggest thing for me throughout all this is, yes, this has accelerated the new norm. Totally get that. But the thing that I think we lost initially, which is kind of bringing it to what I really try to focus in on, is the human aspect of it, maintaining that human connection, right? So, we went really crazy with cameras. It doesn't matter if it's a webcam on your phone. Let's make sure we're maintaining that in-person kind of connection, which has been good, but then it's turned into fatigue. So,
Yeah.
for me personally, just, from a tools perspective, what I really identified is I don't have the mobility like I used to, meaning, you're running through an airport, you're going to a customer's office, or meeting in the office, walking to the water cooler, those sort of things. So getting things like a stand-up desk, just so I can get myself moving around a little bit. And actually using the technology that I had, I just never was utilizing it for this purpose. I always thought it was kind of a pain when my watch would notify me that I was sitting for too long. I thought, listen, you tell me I'm lazy, I get it. But that's been really valuable. That now pushes me to, you know what, it's time to get up and move around, because you forget that sort of thing. So yeah, I think for me, it's been maintaining, much like Yvonne, whatever I do, I want to be able to move around. So if I need to move into the kitchen, if I need to go take a walk around the neighborhood, whatever it is, be able to have that technology to do that. And I think that's the awesome thing, is the technology we have affords us that opportunity. So, applications like Zoom, so if you do a call on Zoom, you can transfer from your laptop to your phone. So if you need to move around, you can definitely do that. Like Yvonne, I haven't really gotten into a lot of the different plugins. It's really basic, webcam. Although it took forever to get that webcam, as James,
you got caught up in the COVID lockdown for sure, right? Just getting some components.
Yeah, and everybody loves the max headroom look for me occasionally, but it was getting really annoying. But I finally got my new Logitech in, so it's definitely great.
And we all appreciate that. You're coming very clear in the 1080p that you have with that Logitech Brio.
There you go.
But you touched on something as well there, right? Zoom fatigue, right? Or video conference, I won't just mention Zoom. I'm not being sponsored by Zoom. None of us are getting any stipends from them. I didn't invest in them because I saw that the uptick today, and I was a little bit out of reach. Those can be brutal. They really can, right? Because now you think about it, the commute is gone. So we're not spending an hour, 2 hours, whatever, in traffic to go to a physical location, to a customer's site or a business meeting. Now, folks can get on your calendar and say, look, as soon as you roll out of bed, fix your hair, wash your face, and log onto the Zoom call and be productive. Are either of you doing anything particular with Zoom? I know Zoom has backgrounds, has filters, it has capabilities to fix your face up a little bit. I need as much of the of that assistance as I possibly can. But what are you doing to help alleviate kind of the Zoom fatigue?
I think for me, the apps are good to be able to leverage, but it's now turning off the camera. We've gone way too far to where it was you always had to have your camera on. And again, it was to get that in-person human connection, which is great. And there's great utilizations of this tool. You can do things that are outside the typical meetings, water cooler talks, don't talk about business, just, that sort of thing. But yeah, for me now, it's trying to, from a Zoom perspective, identify when I need to have the camera on. And there are good times to do that. Yeah. But identifying when sometimes it's a time to take it back straight to that. But, there's some great settings in there. And that's one thing when we open up an app and use it, we tend to not look at the advanced settings, but there's some really good stuff in there that just makes the experience better. So I would highly recommend anybody, no matter what tool you're using right now, to look at those settings, because they can definitely help.
Now, those are the good things. Those are good settings. So Yvonne, let me ask you, are there some best practice? Are there some things that you're seeing folks probably using, and are they overusing fake green screens? Are they overusing the color correction or whatever the case may be? Give us your top list of best practices that people should or should not be doing on video conferences. And this could be professionally and like even when you're talking to your family on a large virtual family reunion call.
Sure. Again, I have a strong opinion here because I'm minimalist. I hate virtual backgrounds. It's fun to conceal your room if you don't want to show your room, but I think people just overuse it. And I'm on the same page as Dave, because when the lockdown started, everyone was doing the web camera on Zoom. I've personally been on the calls with 50 people on it, and everyone had the web camera on. And I think now people realize that it's just too much. It puts a lot of stress on you. Because you always think that you need to look, you need to have your makeup on for some of us, and you have to look good, right? And I think that creates unnecessary stress. And I also noticed that people tend to look at themselves, right? So when you're on a web call with someone, with the relatives for work, you tend to look at yourself and actually notice people making those eye movements.
See, there's that beach.
Wait, you're not supposed to do that?
There, right?
I thought we're supposed to look at ourselves.
So that's what distracts you from. I think that's what distracts you from the purpose of the meeting, because you start thinking, oh, maybe I need to do that angle. Or maybe I need to put my chin
well, hey, I did shave today for this call, so I don't know. I did take that vanity into consideration. Sorry.
And the irony of all that, all three of us have the web camera on, right? But that's because right now we're just relaxing. But I think that people should not be ashamed of having their web camera turned off completely during business calls. That's okay. That's okay to turn off your camera.
Well, let's. So one thing there, some tips and tricks. Don't be too comfortable. There are way too many people that think because they're in their home, they can be comfortable. You're still in a professional setting, and I can't tell you how many calls I've been on where it's like, wow, okay, they have a shirt on, which is nice, but it wasn't, it hasn't been cleaned in a while, or whatever.
That's okay.
And the great thing about being mobile in your home is they take these things and they forget. Again, that they're on camera and they take these things. I mean, we've all seen the stuff on YouTube or whatever, where it's the person, in the bathroom, or they get up and, they don't have any pants on or whatever. That's going to happen. But it's just remembering, if you're in a professional setting, be professional. If you're with your friends and family, that's different. But, definitely got to be mindful of what you're doing and where you're at.
That's true. I will tell the audience this. You see behind me a little bit, there was a time when there weren't just water bottles back there behind me. So I would get actually on some company calls, and there would be a large bottle of Jameson whiskey back there. Probably not the best impression that I want to make when I'm trying to talk to someone and making a pitch or whatever the case may be. So I got rid of the Jameson bottle. Right, it's just empty water bottles now. But I completely agree with you, Dave. Yeah, just be acutely aware of your surroundings and what you got going on. So that's us, right? And that's us personally. What our kids are at home too. right? All of us have kids, probably in school. Hopefully, they're paying attention in class. But I say that jokingly, but they're doing it at home. They're doing it in their room, at the kitchen table.
Right.
That's tough, right? What are your, without getting too personal, I guess. Again, tell me how you guys kind of manage that whole aspect of online learning at your guys' residence with the youngsters and access to the internet after class or before class, those types of things. Do you have any protocols in place for the youngsters in your house? What about you, Ivan?
Yeah, so my son is only a 2 year old, so I don't have the problem of distance
Well,
learning.
you studying calculus right now, so okay, he's 2 years old. So look,
He
let's
can count to
catch
10.
up, brother. Catch up.
Yeah, he can count to 10 in two languages, but pretty much that's about it for now. My
That's
biggest
more than
problem
I can do.
in binary. Um, uh, my biggest problem right now is having an open plan at my house.
Hold on, man. You know what? You just throw that out there, right? You just. My son is 2 years old. He can count. He can do his numbers in two languages, and then you just threw out the binary part. Yeah,
He can tell you the colors in hexadecimal code and everything else too,
Dude.
but we're not going to talk about that.
right.
Come on,
I
I'm
mean,
an engineer. I had to make this joke. I had to make
that is why you are on the panel, sir. That is why you are part of this forum, because that is some above level type of stuff right there. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
It's okay. But he's very noisy. That's the drawback. I have a townhouse which is an open plan, and I don't have a separate room, believe it or not.
Okay.
But I have invested into a quality noise canceling headphones. Actually, it was done like several years ago, and I bought this headphones for business trips to wear on the plane. But now I have found a new use. So whenever I have important calls or stuff that I need to concentrate on, I just put them on. And again, I'm not affiliated anyhow with Bose, but that would be my recommendation. And I did quite a lot of research and compared different brands. And there was time where I declined to board my transcontinental flight without the Bose. So I bought the second pair.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's how I love them. But now I found a new use, and whenever my son is in the same room, and he is almost always in the same room, I just put those headphones on. So my advice would be for someone with young kids, invest into a high quality noise canceling headphone.
At 2 years old, all the way up to 21, or whenever they move out of the house, just have some great noise canceling headphones. So I'm a fan of Bose too. Which ones you got? The QC35s?
I've got the QC 25, the small ones, not the big.
Okay, got you. Those are good. Everything Bose puts out is fantastic. Anyway, I'm a fan as well. Dave, what about you? You got some youngsters in there hogging up all your internet, playing Fortnite all day?
Yeah, I do actually. So let me say this up front though. For anybody who has kids, I think we got to give our kids a lot of credit. They're going through something that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's a different time, and it's tremendous. It's a lot of pressure. I mean, to throw them into this world where they got to do everything virtually, they can't see their friends, that sort of thing. So just want to throw that out there. If you guys have kids, whoever's watching this, definitely give them a hug and tell them that you love them and you know that they're going through a tough time. But yeah, so what we've done is we've always had a scheduling system of some sort. So I've got an app that I use for time on the whether it's Wi-Fi or their phones. And my two youngest are now freshmen and a junior in high school.
Okay.
So they've hated it, but it's been really, really useful. And it's mainly to not just limit the amount of time just for the sake of doing it, but it's to bring back the center to the family. So we let them know this is so we can have family time and have one-on-one connections when it comes time for dinner, there are no devices by anybody, not the parents, not the kids, anything like that. But moving into COVID, what we've had to do is start scheduling things. So I actually got another app that helps us schedule everything for them. And that's been really, really useful. We did it during summer. Hey, here's where you have time that you can have free time, do whatever you want to do. Here's where you can do some chores around the house. Here's where we're going to have family time, that sort of thing. And it, some might think that's a lot of scheduling, but it brings structure, which, we found every kid needs structure, and they love structure when they have it. They hate it initially, but structure is really helpful. That's been tremendous for now moving into this new time. So now they're able to kind of schedule themselves and self-schedule and understand, okay, for school, because they're doing it remotely right now. I got to be there at this time. This is for this class, got to be set, and they're prepared. And again, they blow me away. We're using technology to help them with there, but they blow me away with what they're doing. And I think everybody that's watching your kids, if you watch them, the stuff that they're dealing with is tremendous. But the technology is awesome. If you want to use it, it's out there. There's apps. And that's what we've done. And we've had to. And the biggest thing is now we're identifying dead spots in the house where they're starting to move around where you didn't think you need to have Wi-Fi as strong. So we've had to work around that a little bit. But
brother's trying to get away from sister, and so he can do his homework, that kind of thing, and you find he's finding a closet somewhere in the remote part of the house to use. That's interesting, because I do a very similar thing. We've got X5 by Xfinity, right? So, and they have the capability of also logging time, logging access online, shutting devices off after a certain amount of time, after a certain amount of usage, after a particular time in the day, or whatever the case may be. So I did that up until last year with my kids, but I think, and I don't know if they may be watching or something right now, so hopefully they're not listening right now, but I stopped doing that. So, their laptops and their phones don't fall off of the internet at 10:30 now like they used to. Why? Because sometimes now my son has homework that he has until 10 o'clock at night to turn in because they're all remote. So there's real reasoning behind having that online capability. But you're right, Dave, the structure piece. Look, I come from a military family, so I know structure, and I know the fact that, if you got a strong foundation of that in your life, you're gonna be geared for success. But do you get an idea what those apps are in particular, off the top of your head that you use? I'd love to check them out.
Yeah, for sure. One that we use for the internet stuff that also helps for their phones is Disney Circle. The problem with Disney Circle, though, is they've changed the platform. So they have a new generation. We haven't gone with the new generation. But what we did is kind of to your point, I actually have profiles set up for each of the kids. But then I have a school profile. So their school devices, because they've been provided laptops.
Right.
That's available anytime. That way, but as long as they know, you're not going to be playing games on there. You're not going to use that to watch YouTube when it's past time. But I mean, kids are kids. What you have to discover as a parent is your kids are a lot smarter than you realize. So when we locked it down, next thing you know, I walk into my son's room and he's on his device. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's after the time you should be on that. And I realized he hopped on the neighbor's guest Wi-Fi. So you have to work through that sort of stuff as well. But again, it's explaining to them, why do we do it? Why we're doing it, so that they understand the premise behind it. And, we've worked through that a couple of times, but Disney Circle was awesome. I know that's built into Netgear's routers. So there's that, and there's other, devices out there that'll do the same thing. That just plugs into our internet, and we can have their phones. What's awesome about that is when they're outside the home, if they get an allotment of time, it doesn't matter. And we can shut down their phone at any point. So that's good. From a scheduling perspective, Cozy's been phenomenal. Yeah. I would highly recommend anybody look at the Cozy. You build it up.
That's the family calendar, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So those two together have been really, really valuable.
Awesome. I've seen Cozy. I've dabbled in it. I've kind of centered all of this household around the Apple ecosystem. Look, I worked for Apple for 8 years, had my one-on-one with Steve Jobs back in the day, so I've been drinking the Kool-Aid for a very long time. But have that set up even with extended family, right? So as the kids were growing up, I had their grandparents had access to a family calendar. So whenever Isaiah or Jordan needed to be picked up from whatever location, the grandparents could see that. See, I'm at a location though. I don't know if you're not there, Yvonne, yet. You will be there, and Dave, you'll get there soon too. But I've got now two drivers. I've got two teen drivers in the house, and let me tell you something. That's a whole conversation in and of itself. And so
Well,
I
I've
use
got
an
a,
app. What?
I was going to say, my oldest is out of the house. I didn't know
Okay,
you could do
so
that.
so
Yeah,
you've been there. You,
yeah.
oh, so I use an app called Life 360 to monitor driving habits. So anytime someone leaves the house, I get a notification. If if Jordan's driving too darn fast on the freeway, I get a notification when they get to their location. So I'm anal like that. I know where you are at all times. My wife doesn't like it sometimes too, but I'm tracking for good purposes. I'm not stalking anyone, but huge proponent of also those types of technology pieces. So Life 360 is one that I use for monitoring those kinds of things. Oh my
Do you have
gosh.
it connected to their phone so that it shuts it down while they're in the car?
I don't have that, but they have D&D, so do not disturb while they're driving.
Right.
So it's built into their devices. Yeah, they can go in and manually turn it off, but that would be a bad thing, and they know that. So that does not happen. But that's good. Again, back to the whole technology thing. What are we doing from a day-to-day basis, from a professional side, to manage through this new weird time of working remotely, working from home, utilizing video conferencing and things of that nature? And then how are we taking advantage of utilizing what we know about technology and not locking down, but focusing efforts for our children as they engage in activities as well. Now, Yvonne, did you just go inside, or did you go into that single room, or is this the sunset in Southern California?
No,
Because the
it's
whole
not the sunset. It's just getting darker in here, and I have
oh my
had
god.
my light on. That was the only piece of equipment outside of my minimalist mindset that I
Yeah,
cannot
show that light again. I'd love for folks to see the light.
Yeah,
I'm
this
not
is the
talking bad
light that I'm
about you. Just
using.
talking. Look at. I just had an ET moment. I just had an ET moment when
Looks
you did
very
that. It's
cool,
all
right?
good. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, it's unfortunate that our colleague wasn't able to join us tonight, because I know he would have added some color to the conversation as well, because he's a very eclectic man. But Dave, what about you? I mean, I brought up a couple of topics. Anything that you're doing again from a technologist perspective right now to maintain sanity, to get through your daily work life? I mean, are you using any of this maybe even to talk to your extended family? Right? Are you having virtual family reunions and things like that? Now, what are you doing around the Lombardi house?
So one thing is, I'll say technology, I'm using it in a way that I haven't before, is around mental health. And that's something that's fairly new for me. So, mental health, everybody always talks about it, right? But up until COVID, I've never even thought about it. It's just, I've always been a happy guy and that sort of thing. So actually starting to use technology for that. And my kids are starting to get introduced to that in school. So, one of the things, and I'll touch on, what we're doing for the family, but one of the things is really focusing on that. So I don't care if you call it meditation, breathing, but you just got to get a break, away from things. So there's some really cool technology apps there, whether it's, on your phone, your watch. I got the Aura Ring as well. So I got several different
Okay.
fitness things.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that kind of remind you, not just about moving, but actually kind of paying attention to your mental health. And that's, like I said, even if it's just taking a break, walking out of your office and breathing for 2 minutes. Something I saw at TED Talk that came out was they're calling it the meta moment. and that's when things are going bad. Normally you're about to say something you shouldn't say, that sort of thing. You just take a break. Yeah. These apps are now allowing you to really focus. So that's been interesting. That's something I've never ever looked at ever in the past. Okay. But this has actually popped up because I'm starting to get a little, stir crazy in the Lombardi house. Yeah. Which it's not helpful for the kids and the family. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. With respect to how we're using technology for the family is, we're actually going back to the basics. We're eliminating technology to where when we get around the family, it's playing board games again. It's doing stuff. Technology is always around now. My oldest, I'm a grandfather. So my grandson, I get to see my grandson on FaceTime, that sort of thing. So I talk to him all the time. He's over at the house as well, but I talk with him every day. So we'll use technology for that stuff. So it's fun. You just different filters on that, and it's a crack up and that sort of thing, and those sort of things. But again, it's all about centering around the family. That's been the biggest thing. I'd say more than anything else out of this, what I've learned is technology comes and goes. COVID's going to come and go, but this time that we have right now doesn't. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I've really started to focus as much on the family as I can. So I'm using the technology to make sure that we're doing that with those apps that we talked about, right? And those sort of things, but really just concentrate on being the best dad that I can be. And then, from there, be the best husband, of course. And then all the other stuff is gravy.
I love it. That actually was a loaded question, because you and I have actually had that conversation, and I was hoping you would go that way, because that's something that shouldn't be taken for granted and shouldn't be just assumed, right? That whole mental aspect and being able to take care. You can't take care of anyone else if you can't take care of yourself. Right. And I know you and I train, right? So, you work out and the whole time when gyms were locked down, look, I wanted to jump off the roof for that whole period of time. And just now starting to be able to go back and work out. The gyms here are open outside, but so I'm getting that action in. I'm getting there at 7:00 in the morning and getting some time in, but that's my mental release. Yeah. I got a indoor cycle here as well, but that's not enough. So apps like Calm and Headspace, I use do Calm. That's the one that I use as well, just for again taking some time out and breathing, right? And you've got an Apple Watch as well. Mm-hmm. So built into the Apple Watch, I don't know if you have the latest OS release, but there's a breathe app or a breathe setting that, again, if it feels, I think if it senses your blood pressure rising or whatever, it'll say, hey, Dave, go ahead and take a minute, and it's time to breathe. Just take 30 seconds and breathe, young man. So those are good things, and I completely agree with you as well. I take advantage of those. Ivan, what about you, man?
So, I agree with the Apple Watch part, because I actually turned off the Breathe app completely because it annoyed me before, but now I turned it back on. But what I did and what actually works for me the best, because I seem to just swipe off those alarms that I have if I'm busy. But what I do, I have a smart speaker outside, and I do a very simple thing. I set up a timer for 30 minutes. And I put because it's a smart speaker, I can put a song that would play every 30 minutes. And usually it's, are you familiar with Rickroll?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I usually put something annoying just like that. So you cannot stand it for more than.
So you purposely Rickroll yourself?
Exactly. That's what I do.
Oh my gosh.
Rickroll myself. And that forces me to stand up and physically go there. And once I go there, I have my push-up bar mounted, so I have the the pull-up bar. I have the pull-up bar. It's right here. So why don't I take like 5-10 pull-ups? And that's the only thing that I can do, because if I don't set up that alarm, I used to swipe those notifications on my Apple Watch, because I think that my work, what I'm doing right now, is more important than take a breather for 5 minutes.
Awesome.
It's stupid, but it works.
It's awesome. It's like taking the alarm clock and moving it on the other side of the room, so when it goes off, you can't hit that snooze button. That's nice.
You got to get up. Look, whatever works, man. I love it. it's getting dark there. So before you are completely blanketed in the darkness of Southern California, I say we call it close to being a wrap. Hopefully, this was a good start as we catapult this into something good and something positive. A great discussion for folks to join in and engage. Again, we're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about how we take advantage and utilize technology. We live it. The four of us live it and breathe it every single day, and have some ideas, have some best practices and ideas that we'd love to share with our constituents, our viewers, and our listeners. So stick with us. This is going to be great. This is going to be great for the soul, great for the mind. This is going to be another one of the calm and the headspaces that we take advantage of it as we're doing lockdown. So on that, Ivan, you got anything you want to say in closing, sir?
Yeah, James, I'm very grateful to be here with you and with Dave as well. I think that's time well spent, and I'm looking forward for the new series. I'm very excited, and I have quite a few ideas of what we can talk about, including different technologies for collaboration, and maybe some cryptocurrencies that we can discuss, some protocols, get really techy into inner working. So lots of topics we can go for.
Oh, I like that. Keeping everybody on their toes. I'm going to buy you a light. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow, and I'm gonna get your mailing address. I'm sending you some lights beyond that ET little mork egg that you have. So, Dave, what about you, sir? Oh my gosh, look at this. What about you, sir?
No, this is great. I'm really looking forward to this show and what we're going to do with this moving forward. It's exciting. It gives us an opportunity to talk about things that we love. So it's definitely great, and I love doing it with people that I really like and love hanging out with. So this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to hearing what other people say and what they want to see us evolve the show into. We've got a lot of ideas of things we're going to throw in there, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the audiences think and going from there. But this is fun. Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. I think folks now have an idea. What in the world is this thing? The Technologist Forum. Now you know. This is the first peek. Join us again next time, folks. We appreciate you, and thank you guys again for your support. We're out.